Hello, everyone, and welcome to LOCKBEARD Random Live again. Mr. Lee pushed me into it tonight. He says he wants to talk about Bigfoot. So I thought maybe since there was discussion about cameras and stuff earlier tonight, maybe we would kind of talk about why you guys think we can't get a clear picture. Let's see who's here. Got JD Sedona, Sandra Piper, Aotearoa Cryptids. Welcome, y'all. There's Mr. Lee 3PO. This is all his fault. So how's everybody doing? Let's see. Yeah. I don't know how many of you were on one of the shows earlier where they were talking about different ways of hiding cameras. And I tried to ask the question as non-contentiously as possible about why, if all these camera hiding methods are, if they're so great, have they produced any good pictures? And he said no, but he's not going to stop doing it. And I'm not saying he should stop doing it. I'm just saying they seem to know. I don't think those types of methods of hiding cameras are going to be adequate. They know. I mean, if you see a fake sunflower, you know it, and you can see the camera, and there's no reason for us to assume that they aren't just as capable of seeing it, if not more so. I would suspect that they may even notice when something is not a natural object more than we will, because they live out in nature. So they see those fake birds or those fake sunflowers, they're like, they know it. And if they have developed an eye for camera lenses, then that too, JD says if these creatures are capable of seeing IR, the cameras have IR UV coatings on the lenses and plastic cases. So you're saying that they can detect things that we can't detect, and that maybe the cameras are even more visible to them than they are to us. It sounds like. Remiel's here. Welcome. Sandra says she fell asleep during sawdust. Yeah. I don't know if you were there when they got cut off. It's amazing how YouTube's capable of I don't know, detecting that. I don't know if that's an automated thing and cut the stream off on them. The technology that we have now is kind of kind of scary. Bigfoot Anon's here. Welcome. JD Sedona says, could be the camera stand out like a glow light. Yeah. And, very possible. I don't see why it wouldn't be possible. Yeah. So, I mean, great ideas. Try to catch them by putting the camera in a peanut butter jar, but I don't think it'll fool them. I think they know damn good and well there's a camera in that peanut butter jar, and they know if you put a camera in a fake sunflower or a fake bird, that people are seriously underestimating Sasquatch. We gotta think beyond these ideas that we can just hide a hidden camera will fool a human being, but no matter how well you've hidden it, I just don't think we should assume that just because we're certain a human won't see it, that means a Sasquatch won't see it. That's where I think folks are messing up, is they're assuming that they are not capable of seeing things beyond what we can, and that they're not as smart as us. AOT Roa Cryptid says, agreed, they seem to know, they seem to be able to identify the electrical field or along those lines of intuition. Yeah. So I don't know, if they can sense electrical fields, we're totally screwed without, going with some kind of, maybe like an old Polaroid camera or something. I don't know. I mean, that, if it's just like infrared and stuff that they're seeing and not electrical fields, I mean, maybe, I don't know. It's just, we need more information to try and figure out what they can see and what they can't. Let's see. Yeah. You were there when they were cut? Yeah. YouTube algorithm is Skynet. Skynet is live. Yeah, we're cut. That's a whole nother scary thing. We think this artificial intelligence is going to be a great thing, but all these sci-fi movies warn us in different scenarios that it could occur from AI, and we probably should pay attention. I mean, a lot of those movies and shows are kind of ridiculous on one hand, but something could go wrong. And to think that we could replicate a mind that is got all the safeguards against malfunction, we millions of years of evolution behind our brains, and nature has had a very long time to work out all the bugs, and we think we're going to just create an intelligent mind and it's going to work as well as ours. I think we're sadly mistaken on that. It's going to be something that is going to be insane or childlike in some ways, and you know, if it gets control of weapons, and you know, who knows what could happen. Mr. Lee asks, how are you supposed to collect sperm samples from a Sasquatch? Well, why do we want sperm samples from a Sasquatch? That would be my question on that. I mean, what's that all about? Yeah, I think we are. I think we need more information. I mean, it could very well be that they're just able to perceive things better than we can, and it has nothing to do with intelligence. But it could. I think the intelligence factor is there because they have managed to stay out of sight of us for so long. JD says, I would like to find an old 16mm wind-up camera like Patterson used and set up a camera trap inside of a bucket with it. Get them used to opening the bucket and smile. Your own candid camera. Yeah, it'd have to be a surprise scenario like that, I think, because it would make noise. You know, if it was just running and hidden somewhere, so they would hear it. But if it was a surprise scenario like that, then maybe. Pyromedic says Hunter Orange is supposed to glow to deer. They have UV soap to lessen the effect. I don't know if it works or not. Yeah, me neither. Remiel says, Lockbeard, I've been thinking about that. I believe the Bigfoot can detect electronic equipment. Yeah. If they can do that, then, you know, we're going to have a very hard time getting them on camera. Well, yeah. I mean, when it reaches the point of consciousness. There's a chess analogy: don't move, then think; always think, then move. Yeah. Very carefully and with soft hands. Maybe I didn't see which show, Mr. Lee. Says hello, Romeo. Sandra, how's the recovery going? It took me 2 weeks and I'm 48. Sets the trigger when the lid opens. Yeah. Scary about the AI. Yeah. Remiel says the institutions may already have all the data on Bigfoot, but for us seekers, there is a need to know. So we try anything, trial and error. Yeah. I think that's all we can do right now. And I'm sure the government is well aware of their presence and knows exactly what they are, and they're just not telling us for some reason. I don't know if the guest on that show earlier tonight is correct about it being just the local guys covering it up. you know, I just don't believe for a second the federal government doesn't know they're out there. And if that's the case, that they do know, then they are hiding it because they haven't told us. So the question is, why are they hiding it? Gonna 14 have COVID under control. So some people, me included, can hear some electronic devices sound like a high whine. Yeah. You hear bats. Barry Browning's here. Welcome. In hyperdrive. Sitting still. Sitting still in the van. Not moving very fast. Yeah, so I think that they somehow are able to see all these cameras, no matter how we hide them. And the only way we're going to solve the problem is if we figure out how they are seeing them. Now, of course, you got people out there who think that they got all these weird abilities and supernatural kind of stuff, but you know, I don't think it's supernatural. I think it's just that there's something that they're able to detect, and it may not be sensing electrical fields and IR and all that stuff. It may just be that when something is not natural, it sticks out to them like a sore thumb. You know, like that sunflower they showed, the camera to us is clearly visible in the center of that fake sunflower, and to them, I think it would be far more noticeable because they live in nature, and anything that's not natural, it's very apparent to them. Am I on autopilot? Is that what you're saying? Spaceballs. Yeah, that was a funny movie. And like the alien switching through his settings and alien. You talking about Predator? I think. Are you talking about Predator? Because I think that's what you're talking about. Not Alien. That was a crossover they probably shouldn't have done. Not a lot of people liked that. JD says, I really doubt the supernatural as well, but I think they are super sensitive to some things. Yeah. Barry says, I think they see us putting them out, the trail cams. Yeah, that's another good point. So part of the game is not letting them see you put the cameras out. You know, because they're always watching. And they know you're there. They know you're there. Brandy's here. Welcome. I don't know. Is anyone a Dune fan in here? most people that are familiar with Dune are really not familiar with the history in the Dune universe. Um, you look at the movie they made and the sci-fi series, and I guess they're getting ready to start making new movies and kind of reboot the Dune series. I read the books. Um, there's mention in Dune and Dune Messiah and Children of Dune and all those books. They have a big problem with technology in the Dune world. They don't like it very much. They use it. They still have ships and stuff like that. But there's a problem, and it kind of gets explored in some prequel novels they have. Um, Trying to remember the names. The Machine Crusade, and oh gosh, the Butlerian Jihad, and I'm not recalling the third novel's name, but thousands of years earlier they had created AI, and they had all these robots and stuff, and but the psyche of the machines didn't have certain elements that humans have. So they kind of served and things were just fine. Well, then these guys who thirsted for power, they had ambitions to control the human race and take over. And these were human people, but they had their brains put into machine bodies, and they used machines to take over. But the guy that was programming the machines, the way they describe it in the books is he didn't want to work as hard, so, and he wanted the machines to to fight like they mean it, because the machines were just kind of following commands. They didn't really care if they won a battle. Well, he programmed the machines with ambition or something like that. He gave them that drive. Well, that was a big mistake, because then the machines took over. They overthrew the cyborgs. They kind of kept them around, but they overthrew them, and they took over humanity. And in the Dune universe, it's a very expansive empire. Probably the most expansive human empire that has ever been conceived of in any science fiction ever. It's just obscenely massive. It's set way in the future. And anyway, the humans were basically enslaved for a very long time. But one day they got stirred up because this one machine got sick of the baby. There's a woman, she was kind of a human leader, and she had a baby. And for a while he tolerated the baby, but he kind of got sick of it at some point. So he grabbed the baby, went to the top of the building, and threw the baby off the top of the building. And that stirred up the humans and got them inspired to fight. And then there was this huge war. And I've never watched any sci-fi or read any sci-fi that had more human death than the Dune prequel novels. It was insane. But it's another example of artificial intelligence, and it's just not something you want to play with. Let's see. It's one of the best science fiction stories ever told. Although, I know it's really weird for a lot of people, like especially if you watched the Dune movie from the 80s. It was weird, and it was hard to understand what the fuck was going on. They were trying to put they were probably trying to put too much into one little movie. Now, the new movie that's coming out, I don't expect great things out of it because of the way Hollywood's been acting recently. But they're planning on spreading the first book that the book that's called Dune across 2 movies instead of 1. Having read the book, I don't think it's enough. The Dune, there's just too much that people need to learn about the Dune universe. To move, I mean, it might turn out pretty good, but I don't have high hopes for it. Paramedic says nocturnal animals with large eyes reflect red like rabbits and owls, but nothing glows red like the Sasquatch are reportedly capable of. Well, I'm skeptical about the eye glow thing, you know. All we have is people's claims. You know, their minds could have been playing tricks on them. I don't know. I mean, some people might be lying. I'm going to need to see some evidence, I think, on that one. Pyromedic says Northeast Oklahoma, first foothill of the Ozarks, east of the Great Plains. Are you in my area? I'm actually real close to the border, the southwest border of the what you would call the Ozark Plateau region. I'm no longer in the Ozarks like I was. There's I'm in the Arkansas River area here, so there's there's actual soil on the ground. Where I was, like, you couldn't hardly find any deep soil anywhere. There was so much chert rock in the area. Any place you dug up there, you're hitting a bunch of rock. And in a lot of areas, there's like only just a tiny, like a thin layer of soil on top of the rock. It's just rock everywhere. So, Mr. Lee says, red eyes, yes, I mean, that's supernatural. The speed they move, that's supernatural. Well, I don't know. I mean, people might say they were so fast they couldn't wrap their mind around how fast it could be, but maybe it's just because it's just their limitation that they don't recognize how fast something could move and not be something new, supernatural. But I'm not buying the red eyes thing. What? Oh, yeah. Did you hear see, I wasn't even noticing it till you mentioned it. Yeah, he's out there making noise. I wasn't even paying any attention. JD Sedona says, right on, I retired out of the fire service in Oregon and then found another gig in Arizona, retiring for good in November. Let's see. Looking forward to retirement. You sure you want to retire? I don't know if I ever want to retire. I mean, unless I got enough, unless I had enough funding to like do something, like so many people I see, they retire and they just kind of hang out waiting to die. I'm not I'm not into that. So I need to be able to do some stuff, do something that's going to keep me active, keep my mind engaged. um, I don't want to sit around waiting to die. It's my hope that I don't have to die at all, but so there's always that little chance we'll figure out how to beat the aging process at some point, which has been some interesting developments along those lines that most people are not aware of, having to do with rebuilding telomeres in your cells. It's actually pretty easy, but it costs money. And your body has a natural process that rebuilds telomeres, but it rebuilds slower than the erosion takes place. So they found out there's a molecule that you can ingest that will speed that up. Your body makes it, and it's present in certain things. And they've found there's an ancient Chinese herb that has it in small quantities. They're not high enough that you can take the herb enough to reverse the telomere erosion, but they found out how to make a synthetic version of it. But very few people have enough money to afford that, and of course, that's not the only thing involved in aging. Remiel says some footage may have some convincing images of a Bigfoot. The suddenness of the unexpected moment, the Bigfoot speed, and their being adept at concealment makes for mostly long range or fleeting images. Yeah. JD says 36 years, Mr. Lee 3PO. I'm very proud of that. I have been blessed. Your wife said you are what she said you have to retire? Is that what you mean? And yes, I will stay very active. I've got a lot of fishing and camping to do. Yeah. Yeah. I just want to make sure I had, I don't know. I just I'd want to do something, but be productive in some way. But Brandy says, yeah, it costs money. Will and Jada Smith gonna live forever. Why do you say that? Are they involved in some of the life extension stuff? I don't really follow very closely what Will and Jada Smith are doing, but and I really haven't been following the life extension stuff very closely of late. I used to follow a little more closely. I have a novel somewhere that somebody wrote specifically about that, trying to paint the picture of what the future will look like once we start conquering aging. And showing the possibilities. Most people think it's completely impossible, but there's a lot of things people used to think was impossible that is possible today. So, you know, I don't know why people are so dismissive of things until it happens. You know, it was just like with the UFO thing. You know, people have been very dismissive that they even exist. People who saw them were treated as if they were crazy. But now all those people can shut the fuck up because the government finally admitted it. And that's what it took, you know, for some people. Although most people seem to just like, okay, whatever. And I'm like, no, hold on a second. You owe a bunch of people an apology. You know, you've been dismissive assholes, some of you, about this when people say they see UFOs. You need to, like, step up and admit that you were being an asshole about it. But they won't, you know. They're just trying to ignore it. And I don't know. It's just there's been this very little reaction from the general public. You know, I think part of it is that they, you know, want to act like nothing's going on so they don't have to eat crow. But whatever. JD, after 36 years, you deserve to retire. I worked 25 in the school system. JD says, right on. I want to smash some melons on some of those kids. Brandy says, yes, they do a show called Red Table Talk, brought in doctors that explained all that stuff. Oh, okay. Yeah. Did they talk to the is a skinny guy with a serious beard? I wonder if they talked to him. But he's involved with all the life extension stuff pretty heavily. I forget his name at the moment, though. Ice cream for crow. Pyromedic says Stallone is heavy into stem cells, I've heard. Yeah. I don't know how much stem cells will help with aging, no, but there's a lot of promise in them as we get to be able to use them more easily. Like they did a study with rats where they paralyzed the rats, they crushed their spinal cord, and then they used stem cells to try and repair. And the rats, they achieved some mobility. They restored some mobility, but it wasn't perfect. So, you know, we're not there yet, but they're getting there. And I think eventually they'll get to where they'll be able to regrow a limb, you know. So that'll help. Stallone looks pretty rough now. Yeah. Yeah, I think you'd remember this guy because he kind of talks weird. He was very possibly drunk. I can't remember his name right now, though. Lyme disease. Yeah. They say that is no fun, Mr. Lee. So, yeah. So, yeah, the guy earlier probably thought he had a lot of wonderful suggestions for hiding cameras, but you know, I think that all that is pretty futile. It's not going to fool Sasquatch. Nothing has fooled them yet, really. They seem to just stay just beyond our reach. Pyromatic said, but the muscle he put on for his last few movies was what had people asking. Oh, probably he probably got on some steroids or something. He'd probably deny it, but he may not have. Mr. Lee says First Blood was a great movie. Yeah, it's a pretty good movie. He does think outside the box, though. You mean the guest on the show earlier? Yeah, he's trying, but you know, like I think I made my point in during the show with the question I asked, that you know, because if the things he's doing was going to be of any help, why hasn't he gotten anything yet? But hey, let him keep on doing it. I just think that we got to think beyond just hidden cameras. Got to think about hiding electrical fields and IR and all that stuff, and or maybe go for more long range capabilities in the cameras. Brandy says the more tech you have out there, the less activity. Yeah. JD says he does think outside the box, and we need more of that to up the camera game. Yeah. I mean, he should keep doing it. I just, unless he's got something else going on, I don't think he's going to get any great pictures. He might get some pictures, but they're not going to be any better than anything else we've ever had. Sandy Piper says, I'm pretty sure he did steroids. Remiel says, if Bigfoot can sense emissions or the sound, even the smell of devices and trail cams, even camouflaged, won't work. Exactly. There's multiple ways that they could sense those things. Any camera. That, you know, it's just something that we're not used to being. We can't do it, so it's kind of, we're not thinking along those lines. I mean, sharks can sense fields, bats can, you know, hear their way through their world. They don't need to see. They use sound. You know, maybe some of these people should talk to that blind guy who figured out how to echolocate his way down the street driving a car. You know, his brains had to retrain to that, but it was possible. So everybody needs to retrain themselves, change their thinking, and learn to recognize that other things can see beyond what we can see typically, can sense beyond what we can sense typically. Sandra said, I was in the gym business for 16 years, and 9 of those years I owned 2 gyms. So you were in a gym a lot. You kind of get an eye for, I've had people accuse me of using steroids and other guys I know of using steroids, and I'm like, you haven't actually seen a guy on steroids, because you can tell, but I think a lot of people who aren't really familiar with it and understand, and yeah, they just don't know what they think. Some people can get big and strong without steroids, and then usually when you look at him, you can tell it's like, okay, that guy is just stupid big. There's no way. But if you're in a gym enough, you know. People, when they walk, like the gym I was using, you walk in there most of the time, there's some guys that are pretty good size, but, none of these guys are on steroids. But occasionally some guy on steroids would come in, and everybody was like, yep, that's a whole nother ball game. JD says he is trying a long-range camera now, Lockbeard. That's good. That might work. I mean, if you can get the images clear enough at that range. That's what we need. We need clear images. Your dog takes steroids. Yeah. You sure can. Some average people, some average people, they just need to be in the presence of a guy that's actually on steroids, and then maybe they'll get it. Because most of the time, a lot of people, in smaller towns and stuff, they don't ever run across, a guy in person who is on steroids, so they don't know. So accuse people being on steroids who clearly aren't. So let's take you to someplace. Well, see someone who's actually on steroids. It's pretty obvious to some of us. Remiel says, but we need to get the best undisputable video photographic evidence possible. If trail cams won't do it, the best option is long range. Yeah, it probably is at this point. Unless someone can come up with a camera that doesn't that isn't detectable in the ways that we've been talking about. JD says, I have had some bodybuilder friends, and the difference in their muscle definition between being off or on roids is amazing. Yeah. And, and if you get to really know, like, I think most guys on roids have some self-esteem issues. I mean, if you're willing to take steroids, most of them, I think, they have some some issues to resolve. Because I'm not willing to risk the side effects. Shrinkage of your boys, bitch tits, as they put it in the Fight Club. Bob's got bitch tits. You remember that? Yeah. And all the other stuff, looking at some of those guys that do bodybuilding competitions, and they're lean, but their belly sticks out because the steroids enlarged their organs and created abdominal distension. And I don't think that looks good at all, and it can't be healthy. What makes a guy want to do that to themselves? Danny says, very high, yes. I don't know if I said hi to you, Danny. Welcome. Got your boy Explorers here. Hello. Stopped in to say hi, about to crash. Have a great night. You too, Danny. Oops. Everybody's saying hi. Mr. Lee Liver. Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to mess it up, Mr. Lee. JD says, my liver has seen enough other trauma. Yeah. Yeah. Spent a lot of time in the gyms. Kind of live out of them, really. I have for a long time. Because you ain't got a shower on board the van, and being in the gym every day is a good thing. I think you might accidentally trip and lift some weights. I was even sleeping at the gym for a while because I was having some pretty rough times, and it was cold out, and my heater didn't work, and the gym owner let me crash in there. JD says, I think I broke my liver a couple times. Boy, those were good times, but terrible hangovers. Yeah, hangovers suck. Back when I did drink, my friends kind of made fun of me a little bit, but I've talked before a little bit about it, I think, on here, and how I was generally pretty much in really good control of, even if when I was drinking. And so I wouldn't, at the end of the night at the bar, I'd always order a glass of water, and people just be like, "What?" Now the bartenders knew exactly what I was up to, and got used to it. But usually, you drink a glass of water at the end of the night, and it'll ward off the hangover a lot of times entirely. unless you really tied one on, because a lot of the symptoms that you're talking about are dehydration related, but also your body's trying to process out this poison, so extra fluid kind of helps with that. Yeah, water helps a lot. Yeah, and I really needed to, because I wasn't drinking beer. I don't like beer, and I mean, it doesn't seem to get me anywhere. At least it didn't back then, and it's just constant bathroom visits the whole evening. If I'm trying to drink pitchers of beer like a lot of my buddies would. So what I was drinking was, usually it'd start the night with a shot of 151 and then go into drinking Long Island iced teas for the most part. So it's definitely a good idea to have some water after that. Big Rob, welcome. The guys who take steroids gave gas in the tank out of wind in 30 seconds. I've been drinking more than a gallon of milk every day. I last 4 times longer in a fight than they do. High lock, I was working. Yeah. Yeah. They look monstrously big, but that doesn't mean that they are stronger necessarily, or any kind of, they're not like, you see these gigantic guys in movies sometimes, and it looks like they can go through 2 hours of grueling action, kicking all kinds of ass and all stuff. In real life, a bodybuilder is not going. He would have died in the first 5 minutes of the movie. And that's just, yeah. So it's just hydrate. JD says. Remiel says, if the Bigfoot expectedly observes us at certain distance, we may get good footage. Using high-end cameras, zoom to the maximum range on rigs with a gimbal, but the opportunity would be slim. Yeah. Saying hi to Big Rob. Auto spelling. Yeah. That thing's going to be, one of these days, autocorrect is going to start a war. Some president's going to tweet the wrong thing to another world leader, and and they're going to be like, what? Shoot the nukes. How dare you? JD says, Manhattans and martinis were my downfall. I got so good at drinking, I went pro for a while and then decided to retire while I was at the top of my game. Yeah. Remiel says the individuals who captured convincing footage had done it mostly by rare chance encounters, and they happened to be ready with a camera. Yeah. Yeah, usually if I'm out in the woods, I have never, I don't run into any Bigfoot, but if I did, there's no way I'm getting a picture. For one, most of the time, I do not have my camera on me. But even if I did, by the time I fumble with that thing and get the camera activated and ready to take a shot, there's no way I'm getting a picture. with a cell phone, and I'm not carrying any other kind of camera because I don't really have any cameras. So it's just you know, so I'm just going to be another person with a sighting under these circumstances. Big Rob says the Bigfoots have to be super strong. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm kind of wondering how their muscle mass compares. You know, like a gorilla doesn't stand any taller than we are, but they weigh like, what is it, like 450 pounds is a top end or something like that, or maybe it's 550. Anyway, they're extremely heavy, but they're not any taller than us. You know, they're just all this muscle, and it weighs a lot. So it'd be interesting to find out one of these days how Sasquatch compares. Stop drinking at 20. Yeah, probably better off. Uncle Bones is here. Hey, Lockbeard, Muscle Beach is no more now. It is a homeless camp. Oh, yeah. One of the great failures of our supposedly great country. You know, how in the hell do we have all these homeless? We did something wrong. Yeah. $365 at 6.5. Yeah. I have a buddy. He's 6'8" and 450 pounds. Now he's not lean. Obviously, he's not a lean bodybuilder, but he's got muscle mass. But he's got a lot of the other kind of mass too. But that's a monster of a guy right there. Like when you're in his presence, you feel like you might, because you're a pretty tall guy and you got some weight on you, and but for me, under 6 foot in the lower 200s weight range, in his presence, I mean, the guy is just about double my weight roughly, and almost a foot taller than me, and he feels like a giant. It's so, it makes me wonder, if there was a few people just like him running around back in the day, and today we're like, oh, there was these giants, and they were just stupid big. And well, maybe the story is just like the game of telephone. Somebody said, well, the guy was pretty tall, and then pretty soon, a few generations later, the story getting passed around, he becomes this giant of just unbelievable proportions, and I mean, he's a pretty unbelievable proportions now, but he's just a human who's pretty tall and pretty heavy, and nothing, not it's not that amazing, but people want so badly to believe in some giant that's just something else. Well, it could have just been a big person. It really could have been. Super heavyweight, yeah, big. Yeah, one night I was sleeping in my Grand Cherokee. I went to Walmart and was borrowing the Wi-Fi, and I fell asleep there, and I woke up to an earthquake, and I looked. The whole thing was shaking, and I looked over in the driver's side window, and there's this huge face that almost filled up the whole window. Well, it was him. The guy that's 6'8" and 450 pounds. It was it was his face, and he had a big shit-eating grin on it, shaking the shit out of the Jeep. I was like, damn it, if I didn't know you, I'd mess my pants. JD says, I think people definitely underestimate the weight of Bigfoot. Go to your next county fair, look at the size of a 300-pound hog or a 1,200-pound steer, and then compare that to the described size of a muscled Bigfoot. Yeah. I mean, we can't trying to estimate their size and their weight. Is just not going to be something that most people are not going to get remotely close. I don't think, because they don't have any frame of reference really. They never seen one standing on a scale somewhere, so they don't know. They just say they're just not going to be able to make a good guess. Pyromedic says we need to get together and check out that spot on Fort Gibson Lake in the daytime, of course, where the Bigfoot cave is. Is there a Bigfoot cave? I'm not aware of it, I guess. Fort Gibson, huh? I haven't been there for a long time, though. JD says, I've seen a lot of 500-pound human beings, and an animal with twice the stature and muscled has to be in the 1,200 to 1,500-pound range. Yeah. I mean, people find it hard to believe, but I mean, look how much a steer weighs, It's not like such a thing of such size can't exist. Big Ross said, it's so nice in Japan. I can see over all of them and see everything. Yeah. Mr. Lee says, Kerry has good evidence, I know. All those guys there must have shot some decent footage. I think 168 is going to be big. Well, you have higher hopes than some people. I'm not convinced. And at this point, I'm wondering if somebody's going to come up with some kind of hoax, in all that. We'll see. Rimmel says, I think the best drones would spook them just from the noise alone. A silent mobile platform with a long-range camera may be viable unless they spot it and be concerned. Possible. I mean, if you can positively identify them with a long-range infrared or something, and then quickly bring in some drones to get close, too fast for them to get away. I mean, that might work. I don't know, but JD says, agreed, Mr. Lee, can't wait. I think you guys, your hopes are high. I mean, I'm just not as positive about it as you guys, I guess. And I'm going to be very skeptical if they have anything. I wonder, well, all right, who they got hiding in the bushes, Yeah, Big Rob probably got some stairs. Probably did. High hopes. Big Rob, I heard something from the 167.5 got leaked. I don't get to see it. JD says, I'm sure hoax will be alleged at Lockbeard. Anyone can make accusations, and it seems to be the easy thing to do in the Bigfoot world. Oh, yeah. But, I mean, there's always a possibility of a hoax. And, you know, some people want to believe it is what they say it is. You know, I mean, it's like someone like Zasky. Oh, I know that's a Bigfoot and that's a Bigfoot. And it's all blobs. It's all pareidolia. I'm not buying it at all with him. And of course, you got to pay to go see his stuff, you know, and yeah, he's making money on finding faces in the bushes. And Carrie keeps company with this guy, and Carrie lets this guy drop F-bombs on his show while he's banning people in the chat for, you know, language. You know, this doesn't make a good case for him with me. You know, so, you know, between the double standard and being looks to me pretty buddied up with a guy who most people are pretty sure he's full of shit. You know, I mean, I don't know. I don't trust Carrie. I just don't, and that's kind of tainting my view on what he's putting out. And I know this. I mean, he's going to have real evidence. And so far, I don't think we've seen anything. Parle says, Carrie saw under the hog regulations of Florida that it states taking of swamp or skunk ape is forbidden. Yeah, there's some other states that have regulations on the books in that regard. But it doesn't necessarily mean the government is aware of and kind of letting slip that they're there. It could be that they don't want folks shooting at some person in the woods at all. Anything that looks remotely like a human being. It could be just that they foresee the potential for a horrible accident. Plan for the worst, hope for the best, Lockbeard. Yeah. Barry, what do you want to know about 168? I was there. I don't know if I want to know anything. I know some of y'all are anxiously waiting for it, but I'm not. I mean, Carrie hasn't shown any kind of real evidence that I'm aware of in the past, and you know, hanging out with one of the biggest pareidolia peddlers there is out there. I mean, this doesn't make a good case for him with me, you know. So hey, hopefully he comes up with something with this 168 thing, and you know, redeems himself to some extent, but he's no. I'm not hopeful at all. I'm not even remotely anticipating it. I don't think there's going to be anything to see. And with the kind of, the way he's done things with his channel and the kind of people he's keeping with, not all of them. A lot of them are good people, right? He had some good people come out there, but no, I'm not. I'm not expecting anything. I mean, Barry can tell us if he wants. I mean, I assume he's under some kind of agreement not to talk about certain things, but yeah, I'm not holding my breath. Uncle Bone says the one that crossed the road in front of me was 10 foot and 700 to 800 pounds near Ferndale, Washington. Barry, what was leaked? Bob says. Zasky? You know who that is, Mr. Lee, surely. He's the one that peddles in all kinds of pareidolia bullshit. He is completely full of shit. I'm sorry, but the guy is full of shit. And you can't go see his shit. You got to pay for it. It's just like these other guys. Yeah. Barry Browning, there wasn't anybody hiding in the bushes. It's disheartening to get shot down before you even see it. I had a sighting with Sasky at around 2 in the afternoon. Hell, I got 30 minutes on orb footage. Okay, that's orbs. Okay. That's not a Bigfoot, though. I know a lot of people try to draw a connection between the two, but no one's been able to produce any evidence whatsoever to prove that there's a connection between the two. And and if you're talking about the ones where, because y'all saw the lights in the woods or something, and they could have come from a highway nearby, like, how do we know those are what some people claim? That there's some kind of entity or spirit or something produced by the Bigfoot. I mean, we don't. It's just lights, and we don't know what they are. I thought we were speaking specifically about Bigfoot, but where's the Bigfoot? Zasky's peddling and all this pareidolia crap that he claims is Bigfoot. He hasn't been able to produce one image that seems to be clear enough to conclusively say it was something other than just the bushes and sticks and stuff, or a stump or whatever. Big Rob says, I put a lot of money into Carrie for the 168. I hope to see it. Well, I hope you do. I hope you didn't waste your money. I know that Bigfoot Odyssey rubbed Quick Witty the wrong way. I guess Quick Witty contributed some money to it, and then he gets banned from the channel. That's not cool. Remiel, Barry, during the 168, did you get anything we can call very convincing footage, vocalizations, and other evidence that may be significant as well? Well, it's gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna have to see images, but because vocalizations, no matter how much these people try to say that's Bigfoot, you ain't got proof of that. You don't know that's Bigfoot. Could be a number of other things. It could be some other animal, even a very well-known animal, making sounds that we're just not aware they make yet, or something we don't even know. It doesn't have to be Bigfoot. It could be some just other animal we don't know. Could be somebody in the woods, for all we know. I mean, no one can prove yet that any of these sounds come from Bigfoot. So vocalizations, they can record all the vocalizations they want. It doesn't prove anything. And the images they're still really not enough. Like, I can get with movie costume artist and get a big enough guy in a suit. And today we can make a suit that is convincing. And you could film them all day long and people be like, look, that's clearly real. Well, yeah, it's a real person. And with modern costume and all that, you wouldn't know that it's not a Bigfoot. That you wouldn't know that's just a guy in a suit. So if we want to talk about real evidence, we need real evidence. We need biological material. So without biological samples confirmed by real scientists, 168 is not going to prove a goddamn thing. Just not. Well, people say that, but from what I've seen, he is a hypocrite. And that's just a goddamn fact. He is a hypocrite. Now, it's a minor little thing, but it still makes him a hypocrite. And if he's going to be hypocritical about that, then there may be a lot of character flaws that most people aren't seeing. He may be good at hiding his character flaws, for all we know. He's buddied up with a guy who's clearly just peddling in pareidolia. He's selling pareidolia, and he's seems pretty tight with that guy. But people out here that expect real evidence and pictures that are clear and don't accept all these faces in the bushes that are not confirmation of a goddamn thing, do not accept Zasky's crap. They just don't. He hasn't proven anything. You got to ask, why is Carrie buddied up with that guy? So, I mean, I'm sure he seems like good people, a lot of people, but you go over to his channel and you look at his chat. There's very few people that don't have a wrench or a $sign next to their name. I think that tells you something. He's kicking out so many people. You're not allowed to speak. You can't criticize what someone's saying on there. You're not allowed to scrutinize. That, if these people's claims cannot withstand scrutiny, then their claims aren't worth a goddamn thing. Uncle Bone says, Mr. Lee 3PO, I stopped to look for tracks, but my wife was having a shit attack. Okay. I did not get out of the car. I don't blame her, man. I believe in Carrie's sincerity in what he does. I know a lot of people still do, Remiel, but I don't. I don't. You know who I'm talking about? Who we're talking about now, Mr. Lee? JD says Carrie is releasing the 168 no cost, so there is that. Well, there is that, but maybe maybe it's about the channel. You know, the channel brings money, so. Barry says, no, I can talk about anything. I could talk about anything per Carrie. I'm not going to do it over a keypad. I'll come on in person any night you want. Well, I don't know if you were on Moog's the other night. I tried getting on Moog's show, but for whatever reason, my internet wouldn't handle it. I mean, if you want to, but Big Rob says I see orbs when maybe in the future, Barry, when I get, I don't know, I need to get to where I have better internet or something. Big Rob says I see orbs when I get hit in the head too hard. Yeah. Barry, right on. Barry, that'd be cool. Mr. Lee, Big Rob. Uncle Bone says, Mr. Lee, this was 1987. There were many sightings on the Lumi Indian Reservation close to our house at the time. Larry, please do come on. How was your wife after the encounter? Remo says, thanks, Barry, for telling us what you experienced yourself in 168 hours. I'm considering it, and that was interesting. Hopefully they come up with something that, you know, that's worthwhile. But are there biological samples? I mean, I don't trust the guy running the show, you know. So that's making the footage have less value, you know. Barry says there isn't a highway within miles, so I'm looking for Bigfoot, and I find orbs at an ancient Indian village. Would you just effing leave or film the freaking orbs? I mean, film the orbs, but you know, we were talking about Bigfoot, and you know, I don't know what the orbs prove, you know. Well, Barry, I don't think my internet will handle it. Mr. Lee says we shall see. I'm not going to do that tonight. Jimbo, well, I might get blocked here, though. Lockbeard, you calling Carrie a hypocrite is like the pot calling the kettle black. Well, how's that so, Jimbo? Carrie's over there banning people from his chat for using language. Every show he starts out saying, oh, don't use language. We got kids watching, and, don't use language in the chat. Words that you cannot hear typed to the side, he doesn't want people using. Okay, great. Except when he has Zasky on, Zasky's allowed to drop fucking F-bombs, and it's cool. What they say, oh, you're going to have to put some money in a swear jar or something. That's hypocritical. And he's banned so many people. He's created a whole anti-Bigfoot Odyssey community out here because he's banning everybody. If you cuss or you ask the wrong question, or so that's where it's at. How have I been hypocritical? I don't get that. You can say whatever the fuck you want in my chat. I haven't banned you. I told everybody you can say whatever the fuck you want in my chat. I'm not banning you. You go right ahead if it makes you feel better. But what I just told you clearly shows Carrie to be a hypocrite. And if he thinks these kids didn't hear every cuss word in the book on the kindergarten school bus can probably outcuss all of us, he's crazy. So it's ridiculous anyway. So I don't know if he wants to keep the YouTube, child safe designation or whatever. That's fine. But when he lets Sasky come on and drop F-bombs all day long, that starts to make me wonder just how tight they are. And he's tight with Zasky, who peddles in nothing but pareidolia, and everybody fucking knows it. So, I don't know what you want from me, Jimbo. But be sure to go down there and hit that thumbs down. I'm sure you've been one of the guys that's been... A lot of the videos have the same number of thumbs down, so you go right ahead. I don't give a fuck. So, whatever. Barry says, it may not, but hell, we're trying. I'm not defending either. They're grown men and can do that themselves. I can't make the rules on his show either, so I can't really get in that. Yeah. I'm just saying, I don't know why people are criticizing me for disliking Carrie and not trusting Carrie. I have a right to that, based on the things that I've already described. Whatever. You can come in here and criticize me all you want, but I don't know what you think you're going to accomplish. My give a shit level's pretty low on that. I don't care. Gary has lost my trust, and he's lost the trust of a lot of other people. I used to watch Bigfoot Odyssey a lot, and I do not watch it anymore. I don't think he's a trusted source for us. I don't believe that he is, that he's legit. So, yeah. Jimbo says, now I'm not going to get in a pissing match at your show, though. I'm going to stick up for Carrie. He's good people. Well, if that's your experience, hey, a person could be good to one guy and not to another. I don't feel he's been good to me, and I feel like I don't trust him. He's indicated that, to me, that he can't be trusted by his actions, and who's hanging out with a pareidolia peddler like Zasky. He should this if he's gonna act like he's trying to find the truth or real evidence. That's not who he needs to be cuddling up to. Uncle Bone says, Mr. Lee 3PO, she is okay. She grew up near the reservation and knew of Sasquatch. The Time Life book stories she grew up with, those fishermen who had Bigfoot steal fish from their nets. Big time cool, Mr. Lee says. I gotta speed this up. I'm falling behind chat. Barry says, I respect your opinion on all of it, Lockbeard. I do not know anything about any biological samples. Yeah, I don't think they're. I don't. If they came across some, I guess they would collect them. I don't know, but it looks to me like they're just filming stuff. So, I'm going to need more than just film. Mr. Lee says, I've seen an orb with a face in it. What the fuck are they? I don't know, Mr. Lee. I've spent a lot of time out in the woods and in the mountains and stuff, and I've never seen any orbs. But people say they've seen them, even in groups of people. So, we would only be speculating what they are. Who knows? I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole tonight. I kind of want to wrap it up at some point here, but I think some people are jumping on the bandwagon of orbs having something to do with Sasquatch just a little too quickly. There's just been no evidence that conclusively shows any connection with them. Jimbo says cussing is his show, just like you have your show. Well, exactly, Jimbo, but he said no cussing, and he lets his buddy Zasky come on and cuss. That's the definition of a hypocrite, and that's why I'm calling him a hypocrite. Barry, the orbs proved nothing, but we saw a Bigfoot in the same location. We saw the orbs. We saw Bigfoot in the same location. We saw the orbs. Okay. By same location, I mean the exact spot the orb went over. We had a sighting. I'll sign an affidavit saying of that. I still don't know that proves there's any connection. There's a goose sitting outside my door, but doesn't mean I have any connection to the goose. There's a tree right there. I don't have any connection to the tree. You know what I mean? I mean, things could live in the same place and not have any connection. Remiel says, Lockbeard, that's the spirit of his show. We're open to express things, and I'm ready to hear your opinions too, and not let bias be in the way. The spirit, yeah. That's what I'm saying, Remiel. You can't ask the hard questions over at Bigfoot Aussie. They'll say you're disrespecting the guest. No, the guest sounds like they're lying. Some of them definitely are lying. You lie to me, you're disrespecting me. It's the other way around. So yeah, you can't. They ban people so much from Bigfoot Odyssey. Jesus, man, it's crazy. You nearly burned the house down. What the hell? If you did, I don't recall. Jimbo said, I've got paragraphs of you talking shit saying you aren't going on their shows, including hidden. No, I aren't. You get blocked and you show up with a different account now. You're assuming I'm giving you a thumbs down. I'm not assuming you are. I'm just saying join them if you want to. Yeah, I don't go on their shows anymore. I was at one time, and then when they were showing just intolerance and stuff, and they banned me from one account, I'd come back on with a different account. But I haven't been on their shows in quite some time. The reason why the shows I choose to watch are shows I can talk and comment on. If I can't talk and comment on, I'm not interested in watching. The point is to be able to ask the hard questions of these people coming on there, making very often ridiculous claims, and they need to be challenged. And we need to stop people spreading the bullshit, because people spreading the bullshit is muddying the waters, and you got people out here trying to figure out what's going on, and they can't because you got all this different shit floating around. I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch of people out there that actually believe that Dr. Johnson guy, Matt, I think is his first name. All right, that guy is full of fucking shit. He's a liar. And he needs to be challenged. But Gary had him on for an extra long show, and let him talk. He just wants content over there. I don't believe that he's actually interested in finding the truth. He's using this subject, I think, just to pump his channel. People want to see content related to these kind of things, and he's got to come up with guests. So, I don't know why you're bothering me about my thoughts on it. You don't have to be here. But, I'm not assuming you're giving me a thumbs down. And if you are, I don't give a shit. I seriously don't give a shit. Go ahead. But why are you so mad? A lot of times people get angry when someone's showing a spotlight on their flaws. So where do you fit in all this, or how, heavily invested are you in Carrie or Bigfoot Odyssey or 168? Is there a particular theory about what Bigfoot is that you like that I have said that I don't think is remotely likely? Do you not like the idea that I think that Bigfoot is just flesh and blood? There's nothing magical about it. There's no proof of anything magical about it. The only evidence we have is physical proof, just like every other thing on this planet. You know, now, some people take offense to that because they Bigfoot's become a religion to them, and they want it to be part of their religion, and they're fallen angels and all kinds of other bullshit that has no evidence whatsoever. And it's obvious that they're trying to make it fit into their faith somehow. And because they've invested in that idea, when you attack the idea of Bigfoot being a Nephilim or some other bullshit, it becomes in their head an attack on their religion. Well, too bad. I don't know what to tell you. JD says, hello, Mr. Lee. Grab the extinguisher, pull the pin, aim at the base of the fire, squeeze the handle, and sweep back and forth. Yeah. Yeah. See you later. Mr. Lee, JD, I don't have an extinguisher. It's okay now, though. Mr. Lee, stop trying to burn things down. I try to be respectful to you. That is why I asked that. Yeah, I don't recall you saying anything really disrespectful. And you know, this is YouTube anyway. Like, you know, when I come on here, I full well know there was going to be people coming up in the chat trying to be disrespectful, and if they are, I don't care. They're, you know, this is one of my complaints about the channels that ban people. You know, I was raised with the idea, you know, sticks and stones break my bones, but words will never hurt me. These are just words. They're not even spoken to me words. They're just typed on the computer. They're not hurting me. That person has an opinion and they don't like something I said. Well, you know, they're making their own harm because I didn't reach out and smack them or anything. You know what I mean? That's hilarious. You know, and the channels that are banning people, you know, they're doing the same thing. They've showed that somehow the words being spoken harm them. You know, so what's it harming? You know, if I point out that Zasky is just putting out a bunch of pareidolia, and there's no proof that in any of his pictures that there's an actual Sasquatch in them, and he's making money on that. See, he's taking this as something that's going to hurt his income. I mean, that's why some people get banned, because they are bringing logic and common sense to the argument and calling attention to those who are peddling in lies and a bunch of non-evidence. And Remiel says, Jimbo, see you later. JD says, everyone should have at least one extinguisher in the house. Spend the extra money and get a good one. Minimum size 2A, 10 BC. Fire safety has been addressed. I had never seen orbs before. Nothing even close. Yeah. Who knows what they are? JD, I will now. Thanks, man. JD, good advice. The one I seen did not pop out of the soap bubble. Uncle Bones. Okay, I gotta call it a night, people. I'm tired. Good night. Good night, JD. Yep. Barry Brown says, but until we know yes or no on orbs and Bigfoot, shouldn't we investigate them both given the circumstances? Oh, yeah, investigate them both. Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in all these things, but it's just that people jump to conclusions without evidence, about what they are or if they're connected to Bigfoot, and they need to just reel it back a little bit. Yeah, Mr. Lee says I don't like all this banning behavior. Yeah, that's part of what's creating a lot of the division in, if we call it the Bigfoot community, or whatever. And that, I think that division is divided along the people who are interested in legit facts and asking the hard questions, and that's where that line's at. The logical thinkers and the people who don't want the bullshit and aren't peddling bullshit for money are on this side of the line. And on the other side of the line is the ones who are involved in all that garbage, and they're banning people from their channels to hide that. You can't go on these channels and ask the hard questions, and they claim because they're trying to not disrespect the guest and stuff. And I'm like, no, the guest is disrespecting us if they're lying, and if they're not willing to take hard questions. There's got to be a reason why. Why are you not willing to answer the hard questions? Why is the channel banning people who push too hard with those questions? So, and those people on that side say, well, oh, this division's horrible and it sucks. You're the motherfuckers banning people. You're creating the division. God damn it. Oh, shit. Sandra Piper says, good night, everyone. God bless. Good night, Sandra. Thanks for coming. I mean, surely, a lot of you guys are seeing exactly this. The ones that are doing the banning, causing the division, are the ones that are most often griping about why is the community so divided and blah blah blah. You guys are dividing it. You're just mad about the division because you want everybody to come over to your channels and eat whatever bullshit you spoon out. Oh shit, man. Remiel says, I take the Bigfoot subject very seriously. I think this could be a way for us to understand the reality of our nature and existence. We need to ask the hard questions that needs to be addressed. Yeah, exactly. Big Raw says, all I want is someone to show me what I have seen. Bigfoots or ghosts or black masses. To show you what you have seen. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Like, to show you what they are, or to give you an answer to what they are, or what? Uncle Bone says, thanks, Lockbeard, and all in chat. See you all again. I hope a good night. See ya. And thanks for coming. Rumil says, later, Uncle Bones. Big Rob says, Bones, good night. Mr. Lee says, speak, Lockbeard. Well, what do you want me to speak about? I've done quite a bit. Uncle Bones, take it easy, fella. Barry Brownie says, I'm not sure they're connected or the same thing. It may be, for whatever reason, they end up being in the same places, orbs and Bigfoot. I just love getting the evidence of whatever is out there. Yeah. That's exactly it, uh, you know, we just need to just make sure we don't jump onto a belief that doesn't have any evidence in it. And it seems like some people are doing that, because they see Bigfoot and orbs in the same place. Well, maybe they just like to hang out in the same places, but you know, now they could have something to do with each other. But there's these people out there making the claims that they are connected, but it's just a claim. And if people are going to get mad because someone like me doesn't believe their claim, and I'm the asshole somehow because I don't just believe whatever they say. Mr. Lee says, Barry, I searched for orbs on YouTube and found Sasquatch. I don't doubt it. That whole idea of them two being connected is kind of hard to sort out. But where's the evidence? And there's a lot of people out there, they want so badly to believe certain things, that they will run right over there to Paradolia Central and shell out money to see a bunch of fuzzy pictures that don't conclusively show anything. And that's part of our problem. Those same people could be putting their resources into uh, real research. But all you're going to see in all those pareidolia pictures is the same thing you see when you see an elephant in a cloud. And I've talked about before how the human mind needs to be geared to find faces and be really good at finding faces, and that the unfortunate side effect of that is sometimes it finds faces when there's not actually a face. But it's better that you have some false alarms than that you miss a face that could be someone trying to kill you, right? And that's kind of seems to me that's where pareidolia is coming from. We're geared to find faces, and so we'll see faces in all kinds of stuff. People see a face on their toast, and but it's not a real face. But their mind puts that pattern together. So when you look out into the woods, people are putting that pattern together. And all the pictures are just fuzzy enough that you can't quite make out that the constituent parts of that face are actually just sticks and leaves and all that. Big Rob says, just want to make sure I'm not crazy. Well, you're probably not crazy. Hope you're not. Remil says, Barry, I agree. There have been a lot of observations on Bigfoot with orbs in the same area. There could be a pattern that has value for future reference. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you gotta kind of keep track of things and see what's going on. But you gotta be careful, just because two things are always in the same place doesn't mean that they're it may not mean what you think it means. Like two animals may, a frog and a turtle may like living in a creek. They don't really, one doesn't sprout from the other. It's just they both like to live in the creek. Mr. Lee, well, I'm probably going to cut out anyway, Mr. Lee. Let me see, Big Rob. Did I miss something? Bones, good night. Okay, if I'm understanding you right, you want someone to prove that they're real because you've seen these things, and you want to make sure you're not crazy. You're not just seeing things. Is that what you mean? Black masses. I mean, you've seen all those things. That's kind of a variety of things. And I'm pretty sure I don't know about the black masses, but I mean, as far as ghosts and Bigfoot go, I mean, you can see that stuff. There's enough images that seem to be legit. I mean, like most people agree, the Patty film, extremely unlikely it could have been faked. I mean, so there's your Bigfoot. Um, I and ghosts and stuff. I mean, there's been enough people have experiences with that ghosts are probably real and you're probably not crazy. So I'd love to speak on all the Bigfoot stuff. We're not that far off in beliefs on a lot, but I'd like to discuss it and maybe give another viewpoint. Maybe one day in the future we can do that. Yeah, maybe. Um, I mean, my viewpoint is just, what's the facts, so many people have different ideas that aren't based on any facts. It's just what they want it to be. And they'll, create this narrative that supports the idea that they want to be true. And, I'm not really interested in that. There's been plenty of people tell these stories, what the story that they like. And somehow in their mind, I guess it makes sense, but there's no evidence to support that story. And, they need to be willing to accept the truth, whatever it is. And if it doesn't support what they want it to support, they need to be willing to accept that. But some people won't accept it. I mean, this is why we got, flat earthers now. They want so badly for that to be the truth that they got the confirmation bias is just massive. They'll twist anything to mean flat earth, when it doesn't even mean that. And They'll tell me stuff I'm like, look, I can see the damn sun go down behind the horizon, and they come up with this whole reason why they say, well, what you see isn't what actually is happening. You know, I mean, it's like, so how is it that what you see through some camera tuned just right or whatever nonsense you come up with, how come what you see is right, but what I see and millions of other people observe every freaking day is not true somehow? It's just, what in the hell? Barry says, I've seen solid black humanoid figures on a FLIR while it was set up for white being hot. That was on Sawdust Beast Live from LBL. Yeah, I don't know what to say to that. Um, there might be something, without being there and knowing more about the equipment. And, is there some kind of movement of air, or maybe there were spirits there or something. Um, maybe there's something wrong with the equipment. I mean, who knows? I wouldn't know. I wouldn't have it. I don't have enough information to know. Big Rob says YouTube blocked it, but I lived at a state park from 5 to 16 years of age. I've seen Bigfoot, but I haven't seen the same thing in a pic yet. My grandpa was the forest ranger 25 years ago. Huh. Or for 25 years. So you haven't seen a picture that depicts the same being that you saw, what you're saying? You didn't either. That was not. Huh. Well, guys, it's real late, and I'd like to wrap it up. And I want to thank everybody for coming, even the critical people. Keep them coming. Um, Maybe I'll go ahead and post the link to the TV guide, in case anybody hasn't grabbed it yet. If you guys haven't checked out something to Sasquatch about yet, he's been getting really good guests on his show, so you guys need to check it out. His show is Monday and Wednesday nights. And check out Squatch Talk. That's definitely another highly recommended show, in my opinion. Tuesdays and Friday nights. Of course, Mogion Monster. And the Beast Guys is pretty good too. Sawdust Beast and Beast of the Woods. So yes, I won't know what to think of it. Barry, Big Rob, those statements of yours interest me. Thanks, Big Rob. Barry says, good night, Lockbeard. I'm not critical, but when fakery is mentioned, I have to speak up if I'm involved. Have a good night. Oh, yeah. Yeah, please do. Hopefully there's something of value out of 168. All right. Well, everybody, have a good night. Thanks for coming. And maybe I'll see some of you Saturday night at 6 Central. I'll be on here. That would be the actual Lockbeard phenomena. This isn't supposed to be Lockbeard phenomena, but I know it says it on there, but it's not. It's Lockbeard Random Live, but it's meant to be about a variety of subjects, which we did cover a variety of subjects. Thanks, Romeo. You have a good night too.